15 Things You Should Never Do in Japan. Long known as a powerhouse when it comes to economy and technology, Japan has also emerged as one of the top tourist destinations in Asia, with its shrines and temples as well as its national parks and countryside. As a gaijin, here are the things that you should know and avoid doing beforehand, as the ways of the Japanese might be strange to those from the outside, but it makes perfect sense once you get to know them. Number 1. Don't forget about chopstick etiquette. Using chopsticks when dining can be tricky if you're not used to it, but not using it expertly can be forgiven. However, doing the following with the chopsticks is not acceptable and considered rude: passing food to someone else's chopsticks, rubbing the chopsticks together, hitting a bowl with it, using one piece at a time or spearing and stabbing the food with it, using it to point to someone, and resting or sticking them vertically in your bowl of rice or food, as this resembles a funeral ritual. Number 2. Don't forget to bow or nod. Although the Japanese expect foreigners to extend their hand for a handshake when being introduced or greeting someone, it wouldn't hurt to adopt their customs, particularly when it comes to showing respect. Don't forget to bow or nod when greeting people, especially if you see them nodding or bowing to you. You will always see this being done when you enter a Japanese restaurant or shop, as it shows you their appreciation and respect. Number 3. Don't step into a bathtub without showering first. Most Japanese homes have a traditional bathtub called a fiero, which is usually square in shape and deeper than conventional Western tubs. These are often already filled with hot water, and are meant or reserved for relaxing soaks and not for washing or cleaning the body. As such, don't forget to shower and scrub first in a nearby faucet or shower, before stepping in the heated water. Number 4. Avoid giving in groups of 4. There are a few numbers that are considered unlucky in Japan, and one of the most avoided is the number 4. The reason for that is because the number is sometimes pronounced or sounds like shi, which is the Japanese word for death. As a result, you will notice that there are no floors or levels and rooms in buildings like hospitals and hotels that contain the number 4. Number 5. Don't attempt to give them a tip. One of the things that visitors will be glad to know that they are not required to do in Japan is tipping. The Japanese believe that respect, politeness, and excellent service are expected of them, so don't attempt to give them a tip, as this will most likely insult or offend them. Leaving your change at a restaurant may well result to you being chased by the waiter to return your change. Number 6. Don't think tattoos are welcome in public baths or hot springs. When you visit Japan, and you want to try out their traditional public baths or hot springs called onsen, don't think that you can just walk into any of them with you all inked up, and your tattoos displayed proudly. Either you are refused, or gets asked, to cover up your tattoos, as they are still traditional in this aspect and considers it as taboo. Number 7. Don't expect English to be widely spoken. Even in the larger and more modern cities of Japan like the capital of Tokyo, Yokohama, or Osaka, where everything seems highly advanced, especially when it comes to technology, don't expect for a lot of people to speak English. Though the language is taught in school, this isn't exactly considered a second language, and a lot of people really don't have a practical use for it in the country. It is also said that visitors should be the ones to adapt to their language, and not the other way around. Number 8. Don't leave until your companion is out of sight when parting ways. Don't be too anxious or in a hurry to leave when parting ways with the Japanese, as this is against their etiquette and their cultural attitude called nagori oshi, which is the way of expressing the reluctance to leave. This is important for building relationships in their society, as it shows appreciation and respect, especially in the business place. Number 9. Never pour yourself a drink. When socializing with the Japanese, like when having a drink out in bars or restaurants, or in someone's home and you get to taste some of their excellent whiskey or sake, make sure you remember the Japanese etiquette concerning the pouring of alcohol. You can refill the glass of your companions, but don't make the mistake of pouring a drink for yourself, as this is considered a rude gesture. Number 10. Don't call a new Japanese friend by their first name alone. As you will most likely get to make at least a few new Japanese friends, make sure that you know the proper way on how to address them after being introduced. Don't just address or call them by their last name alone, as you should be adding the word san as a way of being polite. Number 11. Never blow your nose in public. In Japan, never blow your nose in public, even when the need arises. Instead, you should exert an effort to find a bathroom or restroom so you can blow your nose in private, or if this is not possible, at least find a place where there are no people. You will notice that it's common for people to wear face or surgical masks, especially during winter, as this means they either have a cold and wants to avoid infecting others by spreading germs, or they don't want to catch one. Number 12. Never pour soy sauce on rice. You will rarely see the Japanese, if at all, pour soy sauce on their rice, as they take great pride in the quality of their grain and on how they prepare it. Japanese rice, called japonica, are said to be tastier, and becomes soft and sticky when it gets cooked as compared to other types of rice which becomes drier. As such, don't pour soy sauce on your rice, as it is served exactly as it was intended, and you may only cause offense or insult to the person who prepared the food for you. Number 13. Do not give or receive things with one hand. Don't hand over or receive things using just one hand, as this is considered rude, so make an effort to free both hands during these situations. This applies to giving or receiving gifts or other items, regardless how small they are, such as business cards or meishi. In addition, never remain seated when accepting a business card from a Japanese. Number 14. Don't do these when paying in a restaurant. When eating out in restaurants in Japan, don't pay the bill directly with the waiter like what is usually done in other countries. The waiter may drop off the bill at your table, but never put your money on the table along with it, as you should pay the bill on the counter or cashier on your way out. When accepting your change, do not count it, as this is considered rude. The Japanese highly value trust, and counting your change is seen as a form of distrust, and won't be appreciated. Number 15. Don't forget the slippers. Japanese establishments like hotels and restaurants normally provide slippers that are meant to be worn when using the toilet. You will notice that even homes have indoor or house slippers, as well as toilet slippers. If you can, bring with you a pair of slippers when visiting someone's home, as shoes are expected to be taken off and slippers to be worn. The toilet is viewed as dirty, so forgetting to change the toilet slippers for the indoor ones after using them is considered impolite.